Welcome to Sisters Not Saints, the podcast where we give real-life advice from the sisters you've always wanted.
Featuring two real-life sisters, Megan and Kristen, and two real-life sisters-in-law, Zoey and Hillary.
Sisters, not saints. You might think they're saints, but they. Some of them are sisters, two of them have blisters, but there's one thing that's for certain, it's their sisters, not saints.
Hi, this is Kristen.
Hillary, over here.
This is Megan.
And I'm Zoey, back live and in person.
Yay, Zoey's back.
Zoey's back
We
with
convinced her
us.
to make the long drive from Memphis home to record with us this weekend.
Good job, Zoey. You
Yeah,
earned
she
that
made
pile
it.
of candy next to you.
You did. She did almost quit driving home halfway.
That's true. I needed someone to come get me, but I powered through.
And then we rewarded you, possibly punished you by forcing you to go get a weird massage this morning.
We did. So we talked about this in the last podcast, that we were all going to go get massages, and we did it this morning. But don't think traditional massage. You know, it's not
Right.
a traditional massage. It's a reflexology. It's more like a rub and tug.
Oh, no. That is not. But that's like
But I think that's a
happy
term
ending
for-
type
yeah.
massage. Let's just put it out there that we did not get a
rubbed-
rub and
Well,
tug.
but we did.
No, we did not. Okay, it's getting
Okay.
very dirty over here.
Okay,
and
let's
graphic.
describe the place we went to.
Okay.
You walk in and everything is scotch taped onto the walls.
Yes.
With
And-
multiple pieces of scotch tape.
And there's 6 lounge chairs from the 1970s.
Huge reclining, soft
Let's
lounge
also
chairs.
preface this by saying Kristen and I have been before,
I've been twice now.
and we now forced Hillary and Zoey to go with
But
us.
they also weren't, I wouldn't say lounge chairs. They were
No.
recliners.
They were like,
Recliners, sorry.
like big armchair recliners.
Like Lazy Boys, but from the 80s.
Right.
Huge.
With like flamingo towels on them? What was on the
It was
towels?
beach towels
I think,
were on top
but that
of
was, I think,
the-
just for your sanitary comfort.
Right.
And then you sit down, they bring over a waste basket, a trash can, with a plastic bag inside. The plastic bag is filled with water.
I appreciate
water.
that.
I liked it,
Oh,
but it's
that's
just an
clean.
interesting mechanism for
Yes.
it. I feel like they could have like a nicer...
No, I would prefer that knowing that nobody else's feet was in that plastic bag.
I loved the hot water. I didn't know what was happening.
So when you
They brought it over. I didn't know. I was like, am I about to plunge my feet into cold water, hot water?
well, and
No,
when
I
you
had no
go in,
idea.
you first have to select what body parts you want rubbed.
And
And
then
for
they
how
talk
long?
you into something else and for longer.
Not me.
Not Hillary. Hillary stood her ground and said 30 minutes only.
Multiple times.
Somehow Zoe said she wanted 30, and then they talked her into 45, but then they ended up doing it for 60. I think we overwhelmed them by being such a large group.
And we all
There-
got something different. It was
Yeah.
too confusing.
It was. There were 5 of us. We all wanted different things, different amounts of time.
Because I
so-
wanted feet and hands, but somehow I got head, feet, and hands.
Yeah, and this place is marketed as a reflexology place. I don't know much about reflexology.
Reflexology, also known as zone therapy, is an alternative medical practice involving the application of pressure to specific points on the feet, ears, and or hands.
Okay.
This is done using thumb, finger, and hand massage techniques without the use of oil or lotion. The theory behind reflexology is that areas of the foot correspond to organs and systems of the body.
I think that they were 100% doing reflexology.
Really?
I
That's-
agree.
If that's the only parameters for reflexology.
But then shouldn't they have asked us, like, are you having problems with your neck, your
No, they
esophagus,
just covered
your
all of it.
diaphragm, your stomach?
I think you can specify that if you want extra attention in
Because I'm
certain
looking,
places.
I'm looking now at this photo of like a reflexology foot chart, and they say basically like if you have problems with your,
But he covered all those areas on this foot chart.
so we're just healed now.
Yeah.
God, I hope so. Is
Well,
there
let's
something
see.
for
What does it
mental
say?
health on there?
No,
Oh, well.
Okay, well, he started with my head, and
he also started with my head.
y'all had warned me that it was, you didn't like it and it gave you a headache. And so immediately he's on my temples. And
Mm-hmm.
I have a thing from childhood where I heard if you squeeze your temples, you'll die. So I thought I was dying for the first 3 minutes. And I almost told him to stop. And then I thought, I'm not going to die. No one's died in this chair. Finally, he
That you
moved off
know
of
of.
them.
And you'd be a very quiet, like suffering dyer. If you were really feeling this way, you should have spoken up. We would have helped you.
Well, I will say, knowing Zoe, in the way that I do, the entire time I was having anxiety waiting for her to say, okay, I need you to stop. This is hurting. I want to quit this. I'm not having fun. I want to get up and I want to leave.
I didn't want to ruin everyone's experience.
But I was literally on the edge of my seat the entire time waiting to hear Zoe go,
You were not on the edge of your seat.
you shouldn't look like you were on the edge of your
passed
seat.
out.
Okay, so Megan and Kristen we're all in one room. We're literally have rented out the entire place. Megan and Kristen are on one side of the room, completely laid out in their recliners, eyes shut, covered, very much enjoying their experience.
I know, and I opened my eyes at one point and peeked over and I saw Hillary looking totally
very
stressed
tense.
out on her phone, like frantically scrolling her phone to avoid the
earbud in.
uncomfortable.
I refused to lie down.
Why?
I just, that's too
Did they try to
relaxed for
recline
me.
you?
The same as everyone was reclined, and I said, I want my chair up.
But I think they have to recline it to like get access to you.
No, I think everyone was more comfortable with it lying down, and then once he did my head, then I needed to sit up.
Interesting.
So how would you rate it, Zoe? What was your experience?
1 to 10, with 10 being the best thing you've ever had, and 1 being I want to die and never do it again.
After the temples, if I could ask him not to do my temples next time.
You can't because I asked them not to do my head and they still did.
Well, my shoulders is what I really wanted, and he did that really well. So that, and my neck, and that was really worth it. So I would say like a 7. And the feet was great. There was nothing. I mean, it hurt me a little bit, but I was, worked through the pain to get the results of reflexology.
What I really struggle with when they get to my feet is I don't find that it hurts, but it tickles me so much.
No, he only tickled me at the end when he was washing my feet.
How'd you like it when he slapped your legs?
I always hate that, but he only did it for a second, so it was fine.
Yeah.
It was so quiet in there that when he was slapping everyone's legs and feet, I kept feeling like I was in a butcher shop.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh, he's like slapping it.
I was like, Hillary's
Slapping
up
the
on the
meat,
table
slapping
now.
a ham.
Okay, so Hillary, what was your impression?
So if I did the 1 to 10 scale, I'd say I think a 7 also.
Oh, wow.
What would drop it to a 6 for me was at the end. Did anybody notice when he stood up and put his full weight onto my upper thighs and then went from my upper thighs down to my feet? That was very uncomfortable.
They did that to me too.
And I was kind of like he had massaged my legs, or because I just got my feet done.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he was like massaging one, he kind of sets it to the side, does the other. So my feet are kind of open.
Right.
And so I felt very like.
I remember the first time I went with Kristen and that happened at the end. I was like, okay, what's about to happen next? And yeah, I had that moment today too because I'm in a dress and all of a sudden he like spreads my legs and I'm like, this is getting really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was very vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that I didn't love, but the rest of it, I've been running, and so my feet are killing me. And so it was, and that's why I wanted to focus on my feet. And that it was really nice. He did a great job.
Was it as
Enjoyed
awkward as you anticipated it being?
No, it was as awkward as I anticipated it.
Yeah.
How relaxed were you, 1 to 10? 10 being the
well,
most
I was-
relaxed, 1 being not relaxed at all.
Like a 6.
Oh, I feel like I was like a 3.
Wow.
Oh, really?
wow.
It felt good. It was
Yeah.
relaxing, but I was on my phone.
Yeah.
I was working, quote unquote. So I wasn't in a relax. But also I have trouble relaxing. I had my AirPods and I had a book and I had my phone. I was fully prepared to.
I looked over and Hillary
to
had a
not
book
be
out. I was
there.
like, wow, she and I are going to have a very different experience.
Well, yeah,
So-
because like I would feel so like the only thing that makes it less uncomfortable for me is that I'm reclined. I'm not making eye contact with my rubber.
He looked up at me every 3 seconds.
Well, that's because you were looking at him. He thought you wanted that. That's why you have to close your eyes and zone out.
I do see reels of hairstylists always posting like never look at me from the shampoo bowl. So I always think about that and I'm like, they don't want me to look at
But
them.
I wasn't looking at him. My eyes were just open.
Well, he was probably thinking this woman's making eye contact with me every 3 seconds.
No, I think he was checking to see if I was enjoying it. Because sometimes I wasn't. He could probably tell. But
That's
I
why-
didn't like that every 3 seconds I got eye
Well, did you
contact.
flinch? Because I noticed there were a couple spots on my foot that hurt and I'd kind of like.
Only one time. And he saw my
Flinch?
face because I was going,
Yeah, I did
My
hear you at one
cheeks
time when he
popped
was
out.
like, did that hurt? And you were like, yeah, but I think it's supposed to.
I heard that too.
Would you go again, Zoe?
yeah.
I feel the same. I'd go again.
Well, now we have to go to a
The next thing I want us to do,
coffin water tub.
Yeah.
Coffin water tub.
more widely known as floating in a sensory deprivation tank. That's what we need to do next. I used to do that a lot.
Guys, it's like Stranger Things. We don't know what powers we'll unleash if we're in a sensory deprivation tank like 11.
But don't you want to know?
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell you what powers I'm going to unleash.
Ooh, what?
The powers of anxiety, panic attack.
Do you think you would panic in there?
No, I don't get claustrophobic, but I just don't like being alone with my thoughts in silence. So I need
Do you want to float with me?
You can't float together because you're nude.
I know. I was just joking.
Well, so says you.
yeah,
Well, I
right.
mean,
What
I
if we
guess-
have different rules?
Yeah, I mean, I guess whatever was
I have-
comfortable for your friendship.
I've been swimming with Zoe nude many times.
They have.
Bathtubs together nude. We take baths regularly together.
Really?
Say more now.
Really?
Megan's face was so good.
Well, I don't want to be offensive. Like if that's like y'all's family culture, I don't know.
No, we have in many places where you have to be naked in a bathtub, basically together.
Okay, so
Like,
tell
Not
us the details.
bathing, but like we went to Japan where there's onsens. Is that what they're called? And it's a tradition there. They're beautiful. You go to these onsens up in the mountains with natural spring water, and there's hot pools and cold pools, and it's supposed to be very healing. You soak and swim and lounge and plunge in hot pools and cold, and literally every person of everybody is totally naked. We've done it in Japan. I did it in South Korea, but you weren't there. Luna did it with me. Peter and I did it in Germany, and that one was co-ed. Men and women and children.
And Peter did it?
Yeah, Peter and Mark. So when we would go to, like, when we did it in Japan, it was me and Zoe and our cousin, and then Peter and his dad also, but they were
Okay.
on the men's side.
So then I have to ask, so you have your daughter with you. How old was Luna at the time?
She was 2.
And everybody's naked?
Everybody.
That's not something that would happen in America.
No.
Like, can you imagine if you took your daughter somewhere where there's naked women and men and y'all are just like all...
Well, okay, so when we did it in Korea, it was just women. It was separated.
Uh-huh.
So Mark and his dad, Peter and his dad were there on the men's side. So
Yeah.
Luna wasn't with naked men.
Okay.
But I think fear of nakedness is a
Mhm.
very American thing.
Definitely.
Oh, it's a very like puritanical
Yeah.
trickle down effect of being an American. And it's not,
Mhm.
it's not the norm in the rest of the world.
We swam naked in Sweden
So
together.
it just sounds like this is something y'all are into.
If we travel and they're like, hey,
You have to
this
get
is
naked?
a place where you swim naked, we're like, okay,
Let's go.
we're doing it.
And I'm guessing it doesn't feel awkward or weird because it is the cultural norm over there. So
Right.
you just feel like it's totally like no one's
And they're
staring and
super
laughing and
nice, beautiful, like fancy, clean places.
I'm going to do some more research about this, but I'm definitely recommending floating as our next group activity.
I'm down.
I'm down to float.
How long do you do it?
You can choose your time. Most places you can choose 30, 60, 90, or 120.
Oh my lord.
I've done 120.
Oh
and that's
my
intense.
God.
2
Yeah.
hours.
And do you wear a bathing suit?
No, you go nude.
Okay.
You want skin to water contact.
Okay. Well, I'm interested in testing it out. Tell me when we're back. Are we
And we're
back?
on.
Okay. So, guys, I was looking on the internet this week, like I do, and I came across another weird and interesting topic that I thought you might like to hear about. Maybe not
Always.
quite as juicy as last week's, but something I like to learn about are the differences in like Gen Z versus millennials. And so I do a lot of, I feel like that's where that's my algorithm takes me to these places. So I read an article that Gen Z is now and in the future going to practice more ethical non-monogamous relationships versus straight up monogamy, which has been the norm for millennials and boomers, and I guess probably all generations prior to them. So ethical non-monogamy is defined, well, there's numerous different ways to practice it, but it's defined as the practice of taking part in romantic relationships that are not completely exclusive between two people. So you can think of essentially coming up with your own rules, and consent is at the forefront of it. So whatever you two decide at the beginning of your relationship is sort of what goes. So it could be anything from polyamory, where you have a relationship with multiple people and this is what we're doing, this is the plan, all the way to something called sexual anarchy, where there are
sounds
basically
intense.
no rules. And there are different subsets within that, but they say they expect half of Gen Z to be in these ethical non-monogamous relationships.
Half. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
But don't we know that humans aren't supposed to be monogamous?
Exactly.
And especially we're living so long now that people were dying in their 30s. So,
Right.
okay, if you got married at 15, that was 15 years.
So I guess the question is, Hillary and Kristen, who are in traditional monogamous relationships, I assume, would you ever consider not being in a traditionally monogamous relationship with your husband?
Well, you know what happens when you assume.
Well, I know you are looking at me very intensely now, and I'm like, Oh, did I open up a can of worms?
No, I know that like research and studies show that we're not meant to be monogamous creatures, and like Zoe said, we're living for so long, blah blah blah. I can see how people would not want to be with the same person for, like, Peter and I got together at 20, so we lived to be 180 years is a long time.
For sure.
However, I personally could never be in a non-monogamous relationship. I am too jealous and insecure, controlling. I would, especially besides just Peter, that I wouldn't want him to be with another woman. I would never want another mother for my children. Even somebody doing anything that I do in the house.
Right.
That would drive me absolutely nuts to share my space with other women, especially another man too. I mean, that's the last thing I want is another man living in my house. Can you imagine?
Right. What if you didn't live with the other woman? Like, what if Peter just left the house on a Tuesday and had his, like, a second wife?
There's no
and you got
room for that in my life. I wouldn't be mentally or emotionally stable enough for that.
Right.
I could see how that's more feasible. Like a maid would work for me.
You need like a
where I'm the boss.
You can hire all those things.
And her job, or a chef, would work. I'm like your boss, and I'm like, this is what I want for dinner, and you cook for me. But if you're just living with me and you're deciding what to cook, and you're also sleeping with my husband or telling my children what to do, like,
that doesn't work.
No, that doesn't work for me.
No, it doesn't work for me either. The same things that Hillary said about herself are very true to me as well. I don't like to share.
But the sister wives don't have to live with you.
I don't care. I don't.
Then how does that benefit me at all?
Because you could send your kids over there, or
hell no,
or like you just get Peter out of your hair for the night.
No, I mean I love my husband and I enjoy spending time with him. Not to say that there's never times where I just want to be alone, but both of us are very good about like, hey, I'm gonna play. He might go play video games one night, and so I'm gonna go watch a show that
it's
he
not
hates
like, okay,
that
I'm gonna
night.
go over to Charlene's house.
Right, I can get my alone time without him having to sleep with somebody else.
Who's Charlene? Find it.
So, Kristen, would you be into this?
Well, no, I already said no. First of all, I do enjoy being with James.
Oh, that's good.
Also, James is the least likely person
to what?
Yeah, he's got his hands full with Kristen.
walk-
He could never.
Yeah.
Hello, why is Peter the most likely person?
Out of the two of them.
Yeah, Peter's more social and like outgoing. I feel like he could find himself in a polyamorous situation way faster than James.
Isn't that nice?
All right, so I think that wraps up this week's Banter Beat.
Banter beat. Megan is coming at us with our first question this episode.
Okay, so the question this week. A friend moves out of state without saying anything to me. We weren't on the best of terms, so no surprise. 6 months later, after a neutral life change for me that she is most likely aware of, she casually sends a text to say, hey, checking in, how are you doing? Do I respond or leave her hanging, knowing she's just being nosy?
A neutral life change?
What's a neutral life event?
I mean, I guess she doesn't feel comfortable sharing what her life event was, but I guess she wants us to know it was nothing so extreme that doesn't sound like a death or a birth, I guess.
Okay.
Well, and if she assumes
Maybe like a job change
Like a move
or
into a new place or something.
If the friend moved, didn't tell you, and this is the only context sense, I think you just don't need to be friends with this person.
Well, yeah, because I mean, she says we weren't on the best of terms, so no surprise that she moved out of state and didn't tell me.
How did she describe this person again?
A friend moves out of state without saying anything to me. We weren't on the best terms, so no surprise.
Unless you really want to
Reconnect.
rekindle this friendship.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if that's what you think about her and you know that she moved, you need to be friends.
Why do we
Don't
care
tell her
about this
anything.
person? If you're friends with someone, you're not on the best terms, they move out of state without telling you, and then they want to pop in and ask about something that happened to you that's probably good, not bad, maybe bad. Either way, they
Neutral.
are being nosy.
newsy.
Well, but okay, so she says
They're
that
being nosy.
They're being nosy. She says that her text says, hey, checking in, how are you doing? So maybe she's not even wanting to know about the neutral life event. Maybe she's just feeling like, okay, I left that friendship hanging. Let me just check in and see how things are going.
Well, if she said they weren't on the best of terms, maybe it was a friendship that they had a falling out.
Mm-hmm.
And now that one of them or both of them is feeling, I mean, I've had
Right.
friendship falling outs where
Yeah.
I did, after a amount of time, either reach out or have the other person reach out.
Right.
So
Once
I think
the dust
I feel like we
settles.
need so many more details.
Yeah, right.
But I think if you want to be friends with this person, then sure, answer the question. If you don't, then
Yeah, my thing is
Ignore it?
if she's saying, hey, I'm just checking in, I would first figure out, do I want to be friends with this person? If I do, then I would just answer the text and not even bring up the neutral life event. Just say, like, things are good. This is what I have going on.
Yeah.
Don't share more than you're comfortable with.
Keep it simple. I have, I'll post something on Facebook or Instagram about my kids or a big life event, and I'll get questions and comments and direct messages from people that I haven't necessarily been close with for 20 years. And to those people, it's a quick, oh, like, thanks, great to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. It's not that deep.
So me, Megan, I'm a confronter. So I would just say, oh, wow, I haven't heard from you so long. I saw you moved. I can't believe that you didn't let me know you're going to be moving out of state. That's crazy. How are you liking Texas? And put the burden on her to explain why she moved away and didn't tell you and now is just reaching out of nowhere. But imagine if, like, tomorrow I was just like, hey, I live in Portland now.
well, no, you wouldn't say anything. We would just show up for our podcast and you would no longer be here.
And then we'd be on bad
And
terms.
then we would think, okay, we're probably not friends with Megan if she didn't share that with us.
That's what I think. I think, like, some things you just see on Facebook and you're like, oh, okay, Charlene moved to
Charlene's up to a lot of stuff in
to
this
Texas
episode.
this week. She took off with Peter. And now they're just in
Polyamorous
Texas.
relationship. Yeah, I mean, I think if that were to happen, I'd comment on their Facebook post and be like, "What? You moved?
Yeah.
What's going on?"
Right. So I think sometimes the life updates just happen on Facebook, and if you're not close friends, you just don't get those
it's a
updates
quick-
in a conversation.
it's a quick comment, and you move on. Good luck. Keep us posted.
Yeah,
Can I tell you what's happening to someone's mom?
absolutely. Is it ours?
It's not ours, but I feel like it could be. Oh, sorry, it's someone's aunt.
Oh, ants get up to some crazy stuff.
This says that their aunt is being scammed by Liam Neeson.
How?
She says, my husband's 70-year-old aunt recently messaged to tell me that she's been in an online relationship with a celebrity for over a year and that she will be running away with him on Monday as he plans to pick her up on his private jet and take her to his 34,000 square foot home in New York. She finally admitted that the person is Liam Neeson. She's smitten. She's so excited to start their life together. She swore me to secrecy. And she has said not to tell anyone else of their plans. Obviously, she's being hardcore catfished, which I told her much more gently than that. I even sent her an article of a woman who wrote about being scammed by Liam Neeson. I asked her if they had talked on the phone or video chatted and begged her to be careful, reminded her that if he asks for money or any personal information, it's not real. But I'm not getting through to her. She's been involved in scams before, and while she's of sound mind, I believe she wants to find love so badly that she's willing to risk everything for this relationship.
I just want to play devil's advocate. And what if it is Liam Neeson?
Then wouldn't he at least video chat?
He would be sending his
Maybe he
private
doesn't
jet
want
to
his like
her.
videos to get out.
No, he'd be sending the jet. He'd be at her doorstep.
He's coming Monday.
Then wait for him to show up at your door.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like Monday there's going to be a reckoning.
Monday.
Great for that aunt if that's what happens. It's
Right.
not what's happening. She's
But is
clearly
she-
being scammed.
But is she sending him money?
It didn't say. She says she lives with her adult daughter and grandson, and it's not a great environment, and I hesitate to tell them because she told me they would explode.
I think if this is her niece,
Yes.
if I were her niece and Liam Neeson's coming to the house, or
Yep.
where?
Yep. Mhm.
Okay, so I would say, you know what? Maybe the niece could say, when I date online and I'm meeting someone new, I always go to a public place or have a friend with me for safety reasons. So why don't I be there when he comes? For
I don't
safety
think the
reasons.
private plane
She's-
can come to her house.
But
She's
no.
several states away, so she did say she can't be there, and she has no one that
She
can be
needs
there.
to tell the family that.
Yeah, she
needs
has to tell somebody that she trusts to go.
But here's the thing. I don't think that she's actually going to meet up with this person.
No, she says she's packing her bags.
Yes,
she's
I
planning
think
to meet
she
him.
thinks she's going to meet up with him, but I think Monday's going to come and Liam Neeson's going to say, I can't make it. I just got hired to do a movie. I'm going to be out of the country for 4 months.
What if he
Liam
asks-
Neeson
Can
isn't
you
coming?
pay for my flight?
asks
Yeah.
for money. Then he'll say, I need $4,000 to.
But I don't think think we need to worry about the aunt's safety because I don't think Liam Neeson is showing up. I don't think this guy is doing this as like a ruse to kidnap the
But we don't know.
We don't know.
Someone has to know because she's going to be scammed.
Well, and 70 in her sound mind is different.
Oh, she's 70? I missed that part.
She's 70, and even though she is in her, like, she's not, suffering dementia or anything that might impact her decision making, she's just not of the internet age. So I think you do have to take extra steps to protect her from just what life is right now.
Well, and some people are just really susceptible to, like they said, she's been scammed before.
Right. Well, I just Googled Liam Neeson because I was thinking, okay, what if this is true? What if they met up last Monday and this woman's living like a fairy tale life now? But the only thing that's coming up is that Liam Neeson is too old for action movies.
And
How old is Liam
married.
Neeson? I bet he's 62.
Anybody else want to guess?
72.
I'm going to guess 60s, like 65.
Liam Neeson is 70 years old.
Oh, wow. So they are the same
Okay,
age.
well.
I think, so she mentioned the daughter and grandson are living with the aunt. I think I would mention it to them.
But she said they would be furious. But why would they be furious?
Exactly. I think you need to have the conversation. Someone that's with her needs to have eyes on her to make sure, first of all, she's not sending money. She's not sending too much personal information. And then secondly, when this doesn't pan out, that she's not so depressed she does something stupid. And
to me, it sounds like a situation where she's living with her, who was it? Family members.
Yeah.
And she's probably saying she can't afford to help with bills, but then they find out that she's sending money to boyfriends online and being scammed.
oh, that's true. I guess that could explain the.
That's probably why they're going to be upset if they find out. But I would just talk to her, just say, I'm concerned about your safety, so I do feel like I need to tell somebody. No, I wish her I hope it works out.
You hope it's Liam, but I
I
look him
hope
up.
it's Liam.
Is he married?
Well, his wife died a few years ago.
Oh, I could see where someone would
Guys,
get
it's
sucked
not
into
Liam
this.
Neeson.
It's not Liam Neeson.
We know it's not.
Absolutely,
But what
He
if
is not online talking to strangers that he can't even see.
his
He is
wife died in
not.
2009? Maybe he's now finally in the right state of mind. She died tragically.
He's not going into chat rooms looking for people. He's not.
I hope it is him.
I hope it is, but it's not.
What?
I'm just sad for her. I hope it's Liam Neeson.
It is sad. It's
know,
sad.
I don't know. I hope it works out for her.
We all hope it works out,
Right,
but
I'm
we
Team
should
Aunt.
all
Let's
agree that it's
prepare.
not going to work out.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Keep
Hillary,
us
do you have a
posted.
question?
I've got questions. This sister wrote and said, "Help, I don't want my guy seeing, admiring, or being turned on by other naked women. Do I have to accept that my fiance will attend a bachelor party?"
How does she know what's happening at the bachelor party?
She knows they're going to a strip club?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's going to be a stripper.
Yeah,
So I guess, again, that's a question for first Hillary and Kristen. Would you be upset?
Not necessarily for
Wait,
us.
I have a very close friend
Mm-hmm.
who just went to a strip club with her husband,
Some women are into that.
and she said she loved it. She got attention. She said they had a great time. She would go again.
Yeah, some people do enjoy doing that together.
would you?
I would not, but that's not my thing at all. That's
And
not.
it's also
and
not James's
No,
thing.
that's totally not us.
Again, I'm going to assume, but I don't know that that's Hillary and Peter's thing.
that's not our thing. I mean, Peter for his bachelor party had a video game night. So
Gamer.
if that tells you anything about
No strippers.
There were
no strippers there.
no strippers. My bachelorette party was much more scandalous than his
We were the
bachelor
strippers
party.
at your bachelorette
we did pole
party.
dancing at my bachelorette party. But no, he has been to bachelor parties where they went to strip clubs, and I don't care. I mean, I don't want him, I would care if he just went out to strip clubs willy-nilly, but
Yeah.
that I know, I guess
It's a
'cause
social event. Yeah.
I know that that's not him and not what he's into. And
Yeah, I guess
we have
that's-
a such an open relationship. When he was in New Orleans for the specific one where they were at strip clubs, and he was texting me the whole time and calling me and
Right.
joking about I know him and he's with his best friends. I'm not,
and you
I
trust
wouldn't
him.
keep
It's not
him.
yeah.
I'm not we're
Well,
whatever.
and I guess that's the difference is that if he's going just for somebody's bachelor party, he can't control what that person wants to do for their bachelor party.
Right.
So if it's a good friend, yes, he has to go. Do you have the right to be upset? Sure, you can be upset about anything you want to be, but I think you have to understand it's not him choosing to do it.
You're supporting a friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if he is wanting to go to the strip club every weekend, that feels more.
Well, and he's spending a ton of of money on strippers.
Right.
Right.
I mean, that is a little bit questionable. But I think a bachelor party, if, if, like you said, it's supporting a friend, it's a social event.
Right.
That's different than just going and blowing your own money.
Yeah. I
fun.
went to a bachelorette party where we saw male strippers. And that's not my thing either, but we had a blast. It's just like
Right.
silly, funny, laughing, have drinks time.
Right.
But her question is, do I have to accept that my fiance will attend a bachelorette party? I think she's asking, is it okay to tell him he can't go? And I think it's not okay. I don't think you should tell them that they can't
agree.
go.
I think
agree.
it's more of a her self-esteem issue.
It is.
Right.
And a trust issue between the two
I
of
was
them.
going to say, I think it's a trust issue as well. If you think he's going to go and like
Go home with a
cheat on
stripper,
you
yeah.
or there's some kind of issue.
But it was more about him seeing naked women.
She said,
and
I don't want
specified.
my guy seeing, admiring, or being turned on by other naked
So I
women.
think it is totally fair to have a conversation with him and say, listen, this does make me uncomfortable. I understand you have to go. I want you to go. I want you to have fun, support your friend. But these are my boundaries. I don't want you doing
Yeah, I think
this,
you
that,
can
and the
have
other.
boundaries.
I don't want you
Don't open your eyes.
Don't take the blindfold off that I put on when you leave the house. Like, don't go into VIP rooms.
Yeah,
Don't be
you
getting
can have
lap
boundaries.
dances. Don't, just put up your own boundaries and say, I understand you have to go, but this is what my comfort level is, if you
Right.
care.
And I mean, and it's so hard because you always should say how you feel in a relationship. And I'm sure there are women out there, maybe, and I'm sure men as well, who, especially like someone who might be really evangelical, that this is like just really something that they're strongly against. But I think you'd have to kind of both agree to that as a couple, that that's something you're against. But I see for a bachelorette party, and I just don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah. If it's not happening every week, if it's like once every 5 years,
Yeah.
I think it's worth, too, having a conversation about defining what cheating means to you. I know we
Right.
definitely had that conversation really early in our relationship, is because some people define it as, thinking of others emotionally or flirting. Like, is flirting cheating? So I think you just have to have some idea of what that means to you. And every relationship's different. And then you have an agreement between the two of you. And if you violated that, I don't anticipate him going to a strip club and cheating on you, but I don't know your relationship. So if you're concerned about that, then I can see where you'd be concerned about the strip club, but I'd also be concerned about sending him off into the world anywhere. Is it okay to tell him no? I don't necessarily think so. I think he's got to come to his own decision. He's his own person. He can make his own decisions. You can, like Megan said, and like Hillary said, make your feelings known. I think that's okay. Set boundaries. That's okay. Define cheating. That's okay. But he is his own person. And big life events are important.
I mean, if it's something extreme, like they're all going to go do like cocaine and
Or
And,
hire
like,
prostitutes or
prostitutes.
something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but-
different.
I have a teen
Right.
boy who needs some help from us.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like that's so not our demographic that I really want to help him.
Our demographic is anyone who wants to listen.
No, I agree. But
Teen boys need sisterly advice as well.
totally. He really needs our help. Okay, so consider that he's in high school and he says, okay, so I have to break up with my girlfriend. Recently, I just really haven't been happy in this relationship. I've honestly felt kind of trapped. She's super, super in love with me, but it feels like infatuation instead of love. And it's one of the factors that made me want to leave the relationship. She's such an amazing person, and I really don't want to break her heart. Plus, she has mental health issues, so I'm scared that if I leave, she's going to fall into a depression. I don't know what to do, frowny face.
Oh,
What a thoughtful boy.
Yeah, that's a sweet
I
boy.
love that.
He's gonna be breaking hearts his whole
Yeah.
life. You better get used to this.
He's going to be such a good
Exactly.
husband one day.
He's probably never broken up with somebody.
Maybe a good husband to multiple women.
Exactly.
True.
So
How do you
official
break up with someone in high school?
advice? Be as gentle as possible because you're going to break her heart. She's going to be sad. She's going to cry. You're going to want to say that you're going to remain friends, but you're not going to remain friends.
Also, when you're in high school, it's hard because I think even as adults, we
You break
lie
up-
to ourselves. Well, someone might say like trying to be friendly, like, oh, hey, how are you? We haven't talked in a long time. And then you tell yourself like they're reaching out because
Yeah.
they're still you take everything they do as a sign that they're still in love with you. So it's really hard as a teenager, I think, especially to remain friends because that girl is going to assume no matter what he says, if it's nice, he still loves her.
Exactly.
And you remember all the good and none of the bad.
Well, and it's hard in high school because you still have to see this person every day.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be hard.
be as gentle as possible. Let her know that it's not her. You're just wanting space.
I think he kind of needs to, of course, be gentle, break up, but then if they have the same friend group, to kind of remove himself a little bit.
Have the decency to
My
back
first
away.
heartbreak, I was 16, and of course we all hung out with the same friends, and it's so hard
Yes.
when like you still talk to all the same people,
Yeah.
and we definitely kind of went our separate ways.
And also, hopefully she knows you guys are just in high school. Nobody marries their high school
She doesn't know
sweetheart.
that.
No, of course she doesn't know that.
She doesn't. So I think you're on the right path thinking of her feelings and just continue to follow your gut. It sounds like your heart's in the right place.
Also have the conversation in person. Don't text her.
Don't text.
Yeah.
But good luck.
You are going to be a wonderful partner
Yeah.
to the next person you date.
And the next person. And the next person.
Yeah.
Those are great questions this week.
Yeah, hopefully we were helpful.
You can reach out our Instagram at Sisters Not Saints.
Or you could reach out on our website, sistersnotsaints.com.
And leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening to. We'd love to know if you're enjoying this, if you're not enjoying this.
No, we don't want to know if you're not enjoying it.
If you're not enjoying it, just give us 5 stars and move on with your day.
And if you are, share with your friends.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Bye. Have the day you deserve.